Legendary Dolphins coach Don Shula passed away at the age of 90. The Dolphins issued a statement saying Shula died peacefully at his home. Shula is still the NFL's all-time winningest coach and won 2 Super Bowls, including the 1972 perfect season. All right, we're joined now by Bryan Cox, who was drafted by Don Shula in 1991, played for him from 91 until 1995. Bryan, how much did Don Shula mean to your career?
Well, I woke up this morning to a sudden phone call. Don Shula is responsible for my career, I would say, in its totality, because the man taught me how to love. He taught me trust. He taught me responsibility. He taught me selfishness, where, you know, you would do things for him that you wouldn't do for some other coaches. I mean, I really love the man. I'm gonna miss him. I'm sad, but you know, when I think about it, I feel even sadder because the last time I saw him was Super Bowl 50 in San Francisco, and he rolled up in his wheelchair and he gave me the finger and he said, "I taught him everything he knows." And that was the last time I'd ever seen him, and that makes me sad. That makes me really sad.
Bryan, you were a wild and crazy guy when you entered the NFL, playing for the most legendary coach at that time. How did Don Shula deal with that wild and crazy Bryan Cox?
Well, he let me go a little bit, but he reeled me in. And when you know, he'd call you to the office, you knew you had some problems going on. And he'd get me in his office and he'd lay into me. But what I remember most about those times when he would have to get after me is at the end of those conversations, he'd say, "I love you. Let's go out there and let's get the team ready this week and let's go get a win." So he was real big on discipline and discipline his players. But at the end of it, it was always, "I love you and let's go to work."
Just for perspective, rest in peace, obviously, Don Shula. He coached against George Halas and Bill Belichick. Literally, that's the first coach in the NFL in the 1920, and a coach who is still active today and had a winning percentage against both of those coaches. Amazing. Rest in peace. That said, man, you played for some tremendous coaches, Belichick, Parcells, and Shula. Who had the most impact on Bryan Cox?
All of them had their impact. I think Shula taught me how to be a man coming into this league, taught me how to be a pro, taught me respect, and like I said, the selfishness that he taught on the team. When you go to Parcells, that's the guy that I still talk to mostly today, that I'm closest to, has taught me so much about life and about manhood. He's been the biggest father figure. And Bill Belichick, I don't know off the field. I just know him as a great coach. You don't compare any of them, because how do you define greatness? That's 3 Hall of Fame coaches I played for. The only guy that I know played for more than 3 Hall of Fame coaches would be Eric Green, and he played for Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Belichick, and Parcells and Shula. So he played for 4 Hall of Famers. But, you know, how do you define greatness? They were all great.
Now, can you group them together in terms of their similarities? How were they the same?
Well, Belichick and Parcells were the same. They teach and coach out of fear. If you don't do your job, they're going to get rid of you. They're going to let you know it. And they go with everybody. That may be the rift between Brady and Belichick, because they call everybody out. Shula was different. Shula taught out of love and just leadership, and he was one of those old school coaches that could get the most out of players by letting each guy be an individual person. But he was just that guy that he ended up getting fired after 33 seasons as a head coach, 31 of which had winning records. He got fired at the end of his career because he was too loyal and would not fire any of his assistants. Loyalty was high on his list, and I just thank God that I had the opportunity, and blessed enough that I had the opportunity to meet him, play for him, and get to know him a little bit off of the field.
All right, Bryan, Shula, Parcells, Belichick. If you had to take one guy on a fishing trip, who you taking?
Parcells, for sure. And that's no disrespect to Belichick or Shula, but I just talk to Parcells the most right now. He's like a father figure to me. I don't make one important decision without calling him. Now, Coach Shula and I had that kind of relationship. When we saw each other, he'd open a restaurant in California when I was leaving out there. He'd call and invite me and my wife to come out to the opening. We go to restaurants and we see each other around, but I just wasn't around him enough towards the end. Whereas with Parcells, we talk on the phone. I probably talk to him at least once a month, maybe 12, 16, 20 times a year, where we talk about different things. So he'd be the guy that I take on the fishing trip probably. And I don't know Bill Belichick off the field outside of football.
Would you consult with Parcells about the color of your shirt next time you're on this show? Perhaps some advice
Don't
there.
That shirt too.
Jason, you too big to have this kind of swag.
Oh!
That's true. Good point. All right, we got to go. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.